Thank you. I'd like to call up our last team, Pneumotronix.
Thanks. Can I speak from the podium?
You want to?
Yeah, from here is fine. Hello? Yeah.
Turn this off.
Hello? We're good? Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ludwig Konecki, and I am the CEO and co-founder, one of the co-founders of Pneumotronix Incorporated, a company born out of Sidney Kimmel Medical College in partnership with 10X Beta and Jefferson. In my hand, I hold a device that is responsible for saving 50 million lives every single year. This device is the endotracheal tube. This protects people from dying of respiratory failure. We created a device that protects those patients by protecting them from this little cuff, which is meant to save the life, but it's also meant to save the life, yeah. Now, if I can have 3 brave individuals, preferably doctors that know how to intubate, if you could please take one of these from me and please blow it up to what you consider is an adequate pressure. All right, show of hands real quick. 3 individuals. Yeah, you want? I want you guys to intubate, okay? Not each other. All right. So, endotracheal intubation, right? This is a procedure that has saved many, many people. It provides an airway so that we can provide breaths for the patient to aerate their lungs and provide them oxygen. And that cuff is exactly what we're looking at. So what's the problem? Well, erroneous cuff pressures, pressures that are too low or too high, have been shown to cause damage to the patient. If it's too low, you're going to cause a leak. A patient can aspirate, they can vomit, they can take in secretions from the mouth, going right into the lungs and causing a pneumonia. You don't want that. On the other hand, a cuff pressure that's too high can cause blanching, right? The removal of blood from the local tissue, just like you blanch your finger when you press down on a table. That can happen to your trachea if that pressure is too high. And if that happens, your body can form a reaction to it. It can cause the narrowing of the trachea, the windpipe, and cause things like asthma, right? It could be perceived as asthma, or even worse, it can perforate and hit one of the surrounding structures, like an artery, and cause a bleed into the lungs, ultimately resulting in death. These are costly to the patient and to the hospital, and current devices are just not adequate enough in preventing these erroneous pressures. Complications lead to longer stays for patients, 4.5 days, 4.7 days more for these patients that are inflicted with this issue. And it costs $11,000 additionally for the treatment in the increased length of stay and the occupation of a bed. So our solution, we created an automatic cuff pressure monitor that alerts caretakers of dangerous levels. You walk into the room and all you have to do is look at the patient and you see the monitor. If it's glowing green, you know we're good. If it's red, bad, time to adjust it. It's continually monitoring around the clock. All right, this thing's connected 24/7. It never gets disconnected. And it uploads directly to telemetry, and furthermore, if needed, to EMR, electronic medical records. Since 2008, there has been a huge explosion of hospitals that have been adapting to electronic medical records. They're taking data that's acquired on the floors and building trends and understanding what's happening to their patients, giving greater insight to clinicians. New reimbursement structures are rewarding quality of care. And new literature provides the benefit of continuous monitoring. This is on the cuff, pun intended, incredible research that's coming out. So 50 million intubations occur worldwide. 20 million occur in this country at a 5% annual growth. So our product is a smart cuff monitoring system. There's the green glow and the red glow. What I have here is a fully functional prototype that I'll show you, and we'll test how well you guys are at intubating. So the product, it's customizable, easy to read, easy to adjust, reusable, easy to clean. Here's our device working in real time. The device was built in conjunction with 10x Beta, Jefferson, and the group of medical students. In the interest of time, I'll show you a live demo in a second. So who are we competing against? Smith's Medical. They have this device that doesn't really work. It's a one-size-fits-all. The recent data shows that that's not sufficient. 20 centimeters of water is not the standard. Everybody is unique, and everybody deserves to have a set point catered to what they need. Posey-Conflator, this is the biggest competitor right now. We have them here at Jefferson. We have them at Atlantic Health in Morristown, New Jersey. We have them at Einstein. We have them throughout the area. These guys, this device is a device that, like a tire gauge. It bleeds the system, taking possible microbes from the endotracheal tube and pushing them into the device. So every time you go to another patient, you're potentially passing an infection from one endotracheal tube to the next. So what's our competitive advantage? We're the first to market customizable manometer with EMR upload capabilities. We're patent protected. We have a provisional patent currently. Increased value for equal or lesser cost. The Posey-Conflator that you saw earlier was $200 a unit. We optimize workflow and we decrease workload. Currently, it takes about 10 to 12 minutes for a respiratory therapist to measure the tracheal pressure. Superior user experience and a disposable adapter that decreases infection risk. So we want to sell our device for $50 a unit for $10 single-use adapter that adapts our device to the actual endotracheal tube. And we're looking at $43 million estimated profit by the year 2021 at a 4.5% market penetration. So the team, me, the CEO and
Ludwig,
co-founder.
I'm sorry. We're going to have to
Thank you
cut
so
you
much.
off.
All right, thank you, everyone. Okay, I'll take questions now.
Cost to bring this to market are estimated at what do you estimate the cost to be?
So we're looking at probably about $1 million to start getting it out to market early on, small scale, and then going up from there.
That's through your 510K?
Yes.
So you described your market as all intubated patients in the United States, but it seems like you're preventing really issues that occur for a select few patients. Do you know the number? Can you estimate the number around that, the people that actually get complications from endotracheal intubation?
I don't remember the percent, but this is, so the research that's been showing, right, that we've been seeing is that patients, it only takes about 3 hours of being intubated until you begin to have tracheal damage. So that entails people in surgery, people in the ICU, intensive care unit, surgical, in the medical, people that are on transport from an ambulance that's far away, or people that are coming from a helicopter. So this is actually very applicable to the whole range of patients. The actual ones that suffer of surgical complications, like tracheal stenosis, and then having to get revised, I know that Jefferson, for instance, does one revision every week with the ENT department. So, but the actual number, I'm not too sure yet.
Have you done any experiments around accuracy compared to some of the other existing devices?
No, not yet. But the whole purpose is to get this device up and running so that we can actually begin the testing and then, probably, push for the 510K predicate for one of the fellow devices like Posey-Conflator, prove, that we are similar, and go from there.
You're setting the cuff value based upon each particular patient. Who is the one that gets to determine that, and how do you know that value that you set was correct to begin with?
For the price per unit?
No, for the
Pressure.
For the pressure.
Oh, right, thank you. Thanks for asking. So this is actually pretty interesting. 20 centimeters of water is the physiologic pressure, okay? This is the pressure that, as I said before, it's what requires to blanch your fingertip. It's the pressure in your eye. It's the optimal pressure of the body, 20 centimeters of water, okay? Now, patients that are intubated sometimes require a larger amount of pressure, air, to go into the lungs to aerate them. Someone might develop stiff lungs that's in ICU, for instance. You're going to need to push in more air. Now, if that cuff bubble isn't actually adjusted to that pressure, you might risk popping the cuff out with every ventilation, or even causing a leak. So our device allows the actual adjustment of that set point. So currently, this little device is set at 20, but if I want to, I can adjust it a little bit higher. So right now you see, oh, sorry. It's a little hard to do with one hand, but I'll show you in a little bit. So you can adjust the pressure based on what you're looking for. The posicufflator has a little green range that's set at 20. And so that's assuming everybody needs 20. But someone who has a restrictive lung disease is going to need like 30 or 40, right? So it's very dependent. And some people have the argument that it's not even useful in an operating room. Well, studies have shown that when you're in the OR, you're actually, the anesthesiologist is playing with the bed and you're moving around like you're on a roller coaster. Every time you adjust, you have more or less tissue pressing on that cuff, fluctuating the pressure, right? If someone's getting bariatric surgery and all of their body weight is right on their throat, that cuff is going to be upwards of 100. It's going to be very high pressure for just 2 hours, 3 hours. And then you're going to wake up with a sore throat, right? Or even worse. And so what I was alluding at with the asthma is that a lot of patients that suffer this, they get misdiagnosed with asthma, and they go through testing, and they get this diagnosis, they get treatments for nothing. So that's what we're looking to curtail. We want to end all these complications and make the endotracheal tube safe for everyone. That's our goal. Any other questions?
Tell me about your team.
Yeah, so, thank you. So, my name is Ludwig Konecki. I am a medical student, and one of the ones that really came up with this whole idea. I have Mark Malozzi, who's also a medical student at Jefferson, the third year, and Steve Salvarian. We're the 3 medical students that really founded the group. We each have different expertise within the company. Mark and Steve are more research and development, and I've been more about how do we create this product and how do we push the product. And then Safik is the 4th member that we brought along to do really marketing and business. My team members cannot be here tonight, unfortunately, so I'm the one that's...
So as a follow-up to that, what do you see as your commitment of time relative to this as against being a student?
Yeah, thank you. So our goal is what we see is, as medical students, we want to continue, the profession of medicine, right? But we also, as future, doctors and tinkerers, we want to bring it back to our profession. So I would like to stay with the company and help it grow, but also pursue residency and then return to the company after. That's why we're trying to bring on other members, right? Other members to the company so that they can push it forward going ahead. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Can we see how our doctors fared on the pressure? I guess not. Well, thank you to all 7 teams. That was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I think our judges are going to have a really difficult time. But now is the time where we are going to take a short break. Our judges are going to deliberate for a while. They will be back down here at 6 o'clock sharp and the winners will be announced. There will be a reception over here. Give our caterers a couple of minutes, 15 or so, to set things up, and feel free to help yourselves to some refreshments while we're waiting for the judges to deliberate. Thank you all for coming. Please stay.